Missy Hilton.
Full disclosure, the reason I chose this morning to work out of the Interpretive Reading Manual is because I thought it was interesting, I was intrigued, and actually I'm completely lying. I thought it was going to be a total boondoggle and something easy that I could whip together. The first project, the one I'm doing today, is called Read a Story. Seriously, read a story verbatim. The pages fly off the word. And if you've seen me speak, you know how I love to clutch to a script and be able to feed those words to myself. I had immediate ideas about what I wanted to read. Humor, obviously, David Sedaris, Augustine Burroughs, Irma Bombeck, Nora Ephron. I had a huge list of people that I wanted to read from. So I gathered all my books together and started flipping through them. It took me about 4 minutes to realize maybe this is a little tougher than I think it's going to be. So I referred back to the manual to actually read the instructions, which is always helpful when you have a project to do. And it says, the purpose of an interpretive reader is to communicate through voice the work of an author. Okay, I got that. But then it goes on to say, the goal is to so enthrall the audience with the story that the audience isn't even aware of the reader. The reader makes the story come alive. So, no pressure there. Obviously, I've got to get up here and blow your socks off. See, when we write our own stories, or when I write my own speeches, I get the benefit of knowing my own motivation. I know what I want to convey. I know what I want to say. I know how I want to say it. I may not always hit the mark, but I know where I'm coming from. When you have to interpret another author's work, you have to consider what was their motivation? What are they trying to convey? And can you get up there and convey it? Because you always want to do right by the author. After discarding at least 20 or 30 titles, mostly for inappropriate content, I'm not kidding, I decided I'm going to read a story called Grandpa's Song. It's a book that I read to my kids a lot, mostly because the grandpa in the story reminds me a lot of my own father, who passed away when I was 24 years old. Like Grandpa in the story, I imagine that my father would be the guy gathering up all the grandkids, putting them in the car, taking them to the ice cream shop, telling jokes, and singing songs. Like the grandpa in the story, my father had a booming voice, an incredible sense of humor, and an infectious spirit. In Grandpa's Song, the grandpa is becoming a little bit forgetful. He's a lot of fun, but you can see that it worries him. And the author doesn't give you a reason why. So as the reader, you get to decide for yourself. Is it because he has early Alzheimer's? Does he have a long-term or a fatal illness? Or is it simply that life is getting the best of him and things don't work the way they should? Regardless of how you decide to explain the memory loss, the author uses Grandpa to highlight a topic that's something almost all of us can relate to, and that is our aging parents who become grandparents to our children. And he treats the subject gently, respectfully, and with compassion. I hope you enjoy my interpretive reading of Grandpa's Song. Grandpa was as big around as a kettle drum. His voice was as deep as a kettle drum. When he laughed, everything near him shook like a train was passing through, and everyone else laughed too. Grandpa lived with Grandma in a little house in the city. He loved nothing better than a good song. Gram said he sang so loud, the house hopped like a cricket, and the pictures jumped off the walls. "Your grandma's a lucky woman," said Grandpa. "Never does a bit of housework, just straightens pictures all day." Sometimes Grandpa took us to a baseball game. He loved to salute the flag and roar out the Star-Spangled Banner. Sometimes he sang cowboy songs on the porch at night. He hollered Red River Valley with a wolf howl in his voice. Sometimes he took us to the ice cream parlor. He chanted, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream, till the pictures there shook on the walls. When a lady straightened them, he chuckled. She reminded him of Grandma. One evening, Grandpa was turning round and round by the fire, toasting himself like a marshmallow. His eyebrows were almost touching. He was thinking so hard. What are you thinking? I asked. Really want to know? Yes. Well, to tell the truth, I'm thinking about the best song in the world. What's the best song, Grandpa? Really want to know? I really do. Then gather round, everybody, he said. I can see I'll have no peace till the secret's out. Most kids would have crowded up close for such a show, but not us. We knew it was going to be loud, so we moved way back. Grandpa spread his feet apart and took up his singing stance. He smoothed his mustache. He grasped his lapels. We waited. It was so quiet, you could almost hear the stars twinkling. Then, hold it, Grandpa said. Better get your grandma for this one. It's such a secret song, even she hasn't heard it. Grandma stood back farthest of all, next to a picture of geese flying over the sea. Her favorite. She planned to save it if the song got too loud. Ready? Asked Grandpa. Ready! We whooped. So he rang out, sweet as a big belly bell. Sweet as the voice of Grandpa, sweet as chocolate cake. True are the notes he reaches, and deep as a bellyache. I love to watch his mustache flapping like a sheet when Grandpa shakes the house down with his voice so sweet. Then he roared with laughter. Everything shook like a train was passing through. We laughed till we were limp. Grandma grabbed the geese, and she laughed too. Wherever did you get that song? Made it up, Grandpa said, and everyone has to learn it because it's the best song in the world. So everyone learned it, then and there. One summer day, Grandpa loaded us into his old car. He started the motor, and the passengers jiggled like jelly. I sat next to him and plugged my ears in case he started singing. Sure enough, we rumbled downtown with the top down, so a certain song he loved would not be muffled inside. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam. We bellowed like buffalo going downtown. When we stopped, Grandpa said, everybody out! So we charged into the ice cream parlor. Inside, it was as pink and white as peppermint sticks. Everything smelled sweet. A lady in pink sailed up, starchy as a little sailboat. Grandpa boomed out, I scream, you scream, we all scream. Then he stopped. He looked puzzled, like he'd forgotten the rest. So he yelled, for ice cream, and finished for him. Are you all right, Grandpa? I asked. Oh, I've been feeling fuzzy lately. I forget things I should know. They just slip away, Grandpa said. Must be getting old. You're not so old, I said. Then maybe it's the ice cream fumes. He tried to laugh, but I could tell he was sad. One night, Grandpa and I were sitting on the porch. An owl flew from one tree to another, right through all the stars. It's pretty quiet, Grandpa, I said. What can we do about it? He asked, his face as bright as the moon. We could sing. Grandpa warmed up to that idea. Which song? He asked, roaring up and down the scales. Oh, let's sing the best song in the world. Grandpa looked puzzled. You'll have to help me with that, he said quietly. It slipped away from me. We held hands. I sang a line, then he sang a line. I sang and he sang. We sang the best song in the world. Grandpa's birthday was coming. Grandma made plans. But Grandpa said he'd rather skip it this year. All that singing makes the house crooked, he said. Wears you out straightening things. We knew Grandpa was worried. What if he forgot the songs? What if he seemed fuzzy and old? Then I had an idea. If we sang to him first, he wouldn't have a chance to forget. On Grandpa's birthday, the whole family came to surprise him. He was sitting by the fire in his favorite chair. We tiptoed up and said, "Happy birthday, Grandpa!" Then we circled round him, feet apart, and took up our singing stances. We grasped our lapels, or whatever was handy, and rolled like thunder. Sweet is the voice of Grandpa, sweet is the chocolate cake. True are the notes he reaches, and reach deep as a bellyache. I love to watch his mustache flapping like a sheet when Grandpa shakes the house down with his voice so sweet. We laughed till we were limp. Grandpa laughed loudest. All that caterwauling had helped him to remember. Other songs came back to him. We sang them in our sweetest voices. Of course, Grandpa's was sweetest of all. He was really building up steam now. He said, "That song about my voice is first class. Let's sing it again." So we sang it till everything shook. Grandma brought a cake. It had a big crack down the middle. "That song is a danger," she said. "A real cake cracker." And to think, I almost forgot it, said Grandpa. "How could you?" I asked. "It's the best song in the world."